Well, hello there. Carol Dockum here with Beautiful Faces, Going Places, Women's Success Network. And I am so excited because we created something really special here at beautifulfacesgoingplaces.com. It is called our Fall into Success video series, where we are highlighting our success team members, really showcasing who they are, what they do, and the problem they solve, and how they help their clients. So I have our special guest today, Deborah Fawaz of DDFaces. And Deborah Fawaz is amazing, let me just say. I love everything that she stands for, everything that she does. She is an award-winning makeup artist, corporate image consultant, color expert. What else did I leave out? And did I talk about wardrobe stylist? She also helps her clients style their wardrobes through wardrobe audits and really to help her clients with their image, their branding, and how they show up in the world. Whether you're showing up in person or on virtual world, it is so important that you put yourself together and show up as the best version of yourself. And we all know that it takes like 7 seconds for everyone to make that first impression. So it's so important to show up as the best version of yourself. So please help me welcome Deborah Fawaz of DDFaces. I am just so happy to have you here today, Deborah, to share your success tips and also really how you help your clients with their image and their brand, because that they really do go hand in hand.
Thank you, Carol. I appreciate you having me, and I appreciate this opportunity. It's always good to talk with you.
Thank you. I'm excited to have you here today. I'm passionate about what you do as well, because it's so important for us to, I always say, get up, dress up, show up, and never give up. And really to work with your natural, your natural gifts, if you will. So it's not about being a Barbie doll or anything. It's about, working with what, your natural beauty, right? And highlighting your natural assets. And so I too think it's just important to show up as the best version of ourselves. And I know when I attend in-person events or networking events online, it's so natural for all of us to, it's human nature to take a look at one another and go, okay, within five seconds, we have an impression, right, of the person that we've just met. So tell us about, as a corporate image consultant, tell us about how you work with your clients and kind of where do you start?
Sure. So that introduction was wonderful, and I love that we're on the same page there. So I am going to make a couple comments to piggyback on some of the things that you said. It's important for men and women in corporate America right now. One of the buzzwords is your executive presence. And your presence isn't just about your hair, your tie, your makeup. It's about how people receive your entire self, and also what you say. Are you a good listener? Your body language, it all contributes to who you are and how people receive you and how they perceive you. So many times people say to me, "Oh, Deborah, I love what you do, and I'm sure you're really good at it." And these are typically entrepreneurs say, "But people don't hire me because of how I look or what I wear. They hire me for my content." Well, I understand that, and that's true. But how much money are we as business people leaving on the table because we just didn't leave like a lasting impression with someone? They're not curious to get to know more about us or who we are and what we do. So that second conversation after a networking Zoom or, a Chamber of Commerce coffee breakfast, whatever, it doesn't happen because they're just less than impressed. And that happens at a subconscious level. You were talking about the 7 seconds. That happens before our conscious brain can say, wow, I really like Carol's necklace today. My subconscious brain has already gone click, and there's just thousands and thousands of research studies typically done by schools of psychology about that, and how our body physically responds to an image that we see. And, there's past history, there's emotions, there's ways that we were trained to think and how we grew up. And on that, what I do for most of us, no one teaches us that as we're growing up. I mean, right? Our parents teach us to good hygiene and those things, but unless your parents are into image or they're fashion retailers or a supermodel or something like that, it's really not something, and I'm not blaming any parent here. It's just the facts. That's just how it is. We're supposed to figure it out. And now our kids get on YouTube and that's where they figure it out, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
But it doesn't, it's not necessarily, it's a experience on YouTube that you could duplicate, but it doesn't really come with recommendations that have anything to do with you, your personality, your lifestyle, your brand. I mean, I could make this fabulous recommendation to you, Carol, but if you have 5 kids and 3 dogs and 2 minutes to get ready, you're not going to do it.
right.
Right?
Right.
So when I work with people, I take all of that into consideration. And so it starts with, for lack of a better word, an interview, a survey that we can do in person, or if you have the time, you can complete it ahead of time, because I want to know all the places you go, all the different roles you have in your life, how you want people to perceive you. What are you looking for? What are your goals? So all those different questions, that's where we start, because everything I do with you, whether it's about hair, wardrobe, makeup, styling, how you show up, we even deal with hygiene. Maybe there are some things Mama didn't tell you. Lost my train of thought. Oh, it's all customized to you and your needs. If you start out the conversation with me saying, I don't want to be plain-faced and I want to be memorable, but here's my budget and here's my time budget, then we work with that. The goal is not to impose what I think or how I look on any of my clients. That is not the goal.
Yeah, I love that. So to me, what you're saying is that you really personalize and customize your, image and wardrobe, consulting, hair, makeup to the individual, to the person, because we're all unique and different, right?
Right. Absolutely. And, we all have different budgets. A lot of times people perceive, if they work with someone like me, that I'm going to throw out their whole closet and make them spend thousands of dollars. And it's not like that at all. It can be whatever you need it to be. I do a live broadcast every Monday morning. And today we talked about 3 trends for fall in makeup. But just because it's a trend, that doesn't mean it's necessarily recommended for you. And I think a lot of people need some guidance on, if orange is in this season, should I wear that next to my face? And gee, they're doing it on TV. I mean, if you want to see what the trends are, get on the talk shows. You'll see the colors, and they'll wear it for eyeshadow or lipstick to match their shirt. And I think it's pretty horrific. Because just because it's trendy doesn't mean it brings the best of you forward. So in regard to trends, I do work with my clients about how they can incorporate an element of a fashion trend or a color or a makeup trend into their wardrobe that still fits them, but next year they don't look so last year, because most of us do not want to start over every season,
Right,
right?
right. I'm so happy that you pointed out the color trends and, just because things are trending, whether on television, magazines, doesn't necessarily mean they're right for you as an individual, depending upon your style, your coloring, right? So color is
Right.
so important. And you mentioned orange, like orange is definitely not my color.
No, it
I look
isn't.
horrific in orange, even though I know Halloween is right around the corner, but and it is fall, but yeah, absolutely. Well, I'd love for you to share with us some of the topics that you cover in your workshops, because you are a professional speaker and a workshop facilitator. And a lot of companies bring you on board to facilitate workshops, really to educate and help, their teams in a
Right,
corporate setting. I can only think of, insurance agencies, real estate agencies, anyone, that has sales teams that are out in the public could really utilize your image and branding and how you show up in the world expertise. So tell us a little bit about the workshops that you facilitate.
sure. Um, yes, the real estate market is a big one. I have met with many groups and companies in that area because they have a lot of challenges depending on the environment and where they live. I live in Atlanta, Georgia, so it's very hot and humid here. And I've helped a lot of real estate agents who are doing new construction. So they're coming from their car, walking across mud to the trailer on the site, right? And then people come in and talk, and then they go out on the site. And, sometimes the shoes are kind of embarrassing looking, and you can't wear pumps in the mud in new
Right.
construction. So, what do you do? And what do you do about the perspiration? And so, just a whole, how do you show up at work in a polished and professional way without breaking the bank?
Mhm.
Um, Even things like cleavage in a professional woman at work. I mean, show off what you have on the weekend, go for it. But you could be missing a sale if you are sitting, and this is a personal story of mine. My husband and I were sitting interviewing a potential agent, and she was a beautiful woman, and she appeared to be very knowledgeable, and she was dressed very lovely, but she had a very full bust line, and her blouse was undone for several inches of cleavage. Now, I'm not jealous and I trust my husband, but I'm sitting there thinking, what is he paying attention to right now? I mean, it's human nature,
Yes, it is
right?
human
It
nature.
really is.
Yes,
And so, what are you selling when you show up like that? And,
right.
and I say it over and over. How do you want people to perceive you? The really pretty woman with the large, attractive bust line is probably not going to get us to a closing.
Right, right. No,
That, I mean, she can because she's really good at what she does, but what I said about leaving money on the table, that could be a deal breaker. And for some people, it's completely subconscious. Like,
right.
right?
Yes,
I pay
right,
attention to all those things because that's my job and I'm very visual and that's how my brain works. But for other people, they could just go home from that experience and be like, I don't know, I'm not sure she's the one, and not even really know why.
right. No, exactly. It it does give a lasting impression, whether it's favorable or not favorable, depending upon
Right.
the person receiving the information, right?
Right.
But I love that you posed that question about, how much money are we leaving on the table as small business owners, as entrepreneurs, as service providers, because you are not showing up professionally, put together and investing in yourself. And I just think that's so important. I think that's a great question that you're posing, and yeah, it's just so important.
So to go back to your question about workshops or talks that I offer to companies. So polished and professional at work is one of them. Why first impressions matter, because a lot of people really think that's a lot of hooey. Um, oh, I just lost the next one. I do a lot of talks about networking because I do a lot of networking, and there is an art to that.
Yes.
Um, it takes time, and you need to be measuring your return on your time and money investment. A lot of times, you're paying for a lunch or a dinner or whatever it is, or just the opportunity to attend. You have to get ready, you have to drive there. So I try and offer that to people about how to make the most out of it, and how do you know where to go? Where do you find your ideal audience? And how many times do you give it before you try again? Things like that. So networking and gathering leads and following up on that. I'm not a business strategist, but there is a strategy involved with how you show up, as you said earlier, and then what you do after you're there, because that impression keeps going in the follow-up that you have with people.
I love
And
that, Deborah.
and the
I hadn't
whole
thought about
body,
that.
yeah, and the whole body language thing. And are you an announcer or are you a listener? Do you know how to question introverts that need to be drawn out? A lot of people go to networking groups and they are dying on the inside because they're uncomfortable, they're shy, and they don't really know what to talk about, but they want to grow their business genuinely. And they've been told to go network, right? Get
That's
out there and
right.
expand your client
That's right.
opportunities. But there is an art to it. So how you show up is a piece of that. And that is something that I also offer to people.
Awesome. No, I love that you do that, because you're absolutely right. There is an art to it, and it doesn't have to be painful. And it is a great way to expand your market reach, right? Whether it's attending
Right.
in-person networking events or online virtual networking events. I know I'm in favor of both. I love meeting people in person. Online is just as powerful as well, because you can, connect, right? Using
Right.
technology from your home, your home office, and it doesn't take as long to get ready. You don't have to drive 30 minutes, an hour, and then, another hour to return home, 2 hours at the event. So there's benefits, pros and cons to both. The important thing is to put yourself together and get out there and share your gifts, your offers. You just never know who is looking for what you have to offer.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about doing business virtually for a minute.
Okay.
I, I'm a businesswoman. I'm not a business forecaster, but from what I'm observing, for instance, on LinkedIn and some corporate chat rooms, this form of doing business is not going away. It's just not. And how people are, it's all evolving as we speak. So we're not exactly sure where it's going to land. And many people are looking forward to going back to the office. Many are not. Many offices are not reopening for a variety of reasons. So I think this form of meeting people, getting to know people, and actually having sales conversations and closing business on virtual meetings is here to stay. Having said that, that makes it even so much more important that you make a lasting and good impression. And what's challenging about this is it's two-dimensional. So when we're having coffee somewhere or we're in the corporate conference, training room, whatever, there are so many other factors and we use more of our senses. I can hug you so I feel the texture of your jacket, or shake your hand and look directly into your eyes and get some tactile feeling back from that. Or smell your cologne or the freshness of your shampoo, whatever. We get a lot more feedback in person. But in this little, box window situation, I can only see you and hear you, and that's it. So that makes it more important than ever. And I think people, especially business people, really got this after a few months of Zooming in March of 2020, right? When we
That's right.
first started, there were some pretty horrific things going on. Because once again, in all fairness, unless we were in corporate America doing like online meetings nationwide or internationally, most of us did not know how to do this and communicate. Yes, we could watch a YouTube video and learn how to post in the chat and save the chat and raise our hand. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about your background, your lighting, how pale or not you look, what you wear. And I know like it was funny at the beginning of, oh yeah, I got my boxer shorts on the bottom, but my tie is showing up right on top, or we all lived in our yoga pants and our sweatpants. But Carol, I truly believe there's a mindset to how you show up, whether it's in person or online. So I'm not in yoga pants if I'm being interviewed like this. And don't make me stand up and show you, but I'm not. I even spritz myself with cologne because I want the mindset that I'm walking into an interview or I'm walking into a radio station to be interviewed and taped, or a TV interview, whatever. I wouldn't show up in boxer shorts or yoga pants. The only thing that I do give myself a little grace on is I'm not wearing heels to sit at my desk. But I will tell you, if I'm doing a presentation, I often tape the presentation or do the presentation while standing, and then I am in my shoes because it gives me just the overall awareness of I'm the leader. People are paying attention to me for education, for advice, and I need to be taken seriously as that person, just like if we were in person. So all those little subtle nuances affect how people receive, your whole presence.
I love that, Deborah. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I know I have actually taken several of your workshops, and I do recall you talking about, showing up as if, if you are teaching or you are presenting online, to get yourself dressed and show up. So that you are in that mindset, right? And it really, truly does affect our level of confidence as well when you really put yourself together. And I too now spritz myself with my signature perfume, and I just feel good, right? And I think when you feel good, when you're showing up at whether it's an in-person or virtual networking event or a conference, whatever it is, a meeting, and you're put together, that really truly does affect your confidence level and the way that people perceive you, because you feel good, right? I know I feel good when I put myself together. So
absolutely.
well, we are here to talk about our Fall into Success series. So success tips. If there were 3 tips that you could leave our viewers with what would those be regarding image and first impressions?
So these aren't the most original tips in the world, but I do believe them and I strive to follow them myself and show by example. Consistency is a big deal. How do you show up consistently? Are you consistently on time? And this is virtual or in person. Are you consistently, what's the word I want? Frazzled. You know, when we're feeling frazzled on the inside, it shows on the outside, right?
Totally.
So are you like screaming into the Zoom box and you're not ready yet and you're still pushing your kids and your dogs out of the way? I mean, a lot of people virtually, Carol, they don't have a dedicated space in their home to do these kinds of meetings. So they're hiding in the master closet, the bathroom. They're in the kitchen with a curtain behind them on a rod to simulate a studio. Not everybody has their own dedicated space. So that's been challenging, although that is a way that I work with people about what's your background, what's your lighting, what's the angle of your camera. Are we looking at your ceiling fan or are we looking eye to eye with each other? Things like that. But anyways, consistently showing up professionally, on time, engaged. How many people do we see like this in online meetings, right? And it does get exhausting if you have a day where you're sitting here for at least 6 hours, right? On and off. Our posture gets kind of sloppy and we get disengaged really physically. So just show up consistently, polished, professional, fake it till you make it. In other words, you may not feel like showing up. You may not feel like putting on makeup or, you know, putting a suit coat on or whatever it is. But that is a tip of successful people. I'm sure you can read that in any business management strategy plan, right? Is the consistency.
It is.
I've been doing these live broadcasts for 3.5 years. Do you not think there's a Monday morning that I just am like, no? But, and you know, a couple times I just haven't. And then I have clients and people write me and say, I couldn't find you this morning. Now,
That's
I
right.
don't even know they're watching because
Right.
they don't
Exactly.
comment or engage with me, but they have an expectation now that I'm going to be there. And when I'm not, they want to know why.
Exactly.
So,
It is so important, Deborah, to be consistent, consistently showing up. It pays off in the long run. And I always say you just never know who's going to see your message and whether it's today, 3 months from now, 6 months from now,
right.
so it is so important to be consistent. And even with, whether you're showing up online, at networking events or in person, it is that consistency. I love what you talked about body language, because I was thinking about a virtual business week that I hosted last year online. And one of our speakers, I noticed, when it wasn't her turn to speak, she was off to the side, working on something else, probably typing a message. And I just thought, oh my goodness, wow, what an impression she made that she wasn't able to give us her attention and her time that she had
Right.
committed to as a professional speaker. So, that little bit of body language right there said to me, our event, our viewers, our guests, our attendees that dedicated their time to be part of this business week were not important to her. So I so appreciate you sharing that, because if you do sign up to, be a speaker or attend an event, you need to show up wholeheartedly, and be present and engage, because we're reading body language right now.
Exactly. Yes, absolutely. So my second one, we've already talked about a little bit, but it's about showing up professionally, even when you don't feel like it, because people are watching us all the time. We don't necessarily know that, but just the example you gave of an online meeting, but even in person, and people watch you for months before they might decide to reach out to you, to have a coffee or find out what your services are. And here's the second piece of that about being professional. What level of effort are you putting forth when you show up somewhere? So, you didn't really do your hair, or you just didn't feel like wearing makeup that day, or it's raining out and I don't want to get my new shoes dirty. So I'm just going to be comfortable. I'm feeling a little fluffy today. So I'm just going to throw on a black shirt, some black pants, and my Crocs. Okay. Here's what happens in the subconscious brain. Am I going to hire you when you put forth 5 minutes of effort to be at this event? And then I'm going to hire you as my, I don't know, let's say business coach, because how much effort are you going to give me? I mean, this has been going on forever in job interviews, right? You show up,
Yes.
and the person is evaluating your entire presence, not just what you look like, how you show up. Are you early? What's your body language? What's your eye contact? Do you stop and pause a second and put your thoughts together before you speak? Or do you just ramble because you're nervous? So that level of effort as an employer, and I'm interviewing you to be one of my employees. Some people do it consciously, other people do it subconsciously. Geez, you were a little bit late. You have on what appears to be your dog walking shoes because they have mud on the soles, right? So what am I going to get from you as an employer when you're in an interview process for a job and you can't even really have it all pulled together? Well, the same thing happens between business people, between the potential, client and employer, and client and employee, all of that. So if I don't show up consistently with an effort to be on time, to smile, to be engaged, what you talked about, like to stay with the process the whole time, whether I'm hungry or agitated or tired or anxious about something that's going on in my world, no one else really cares, right?
Absolutely. No, totally. Thank you.
So,
Thank you. That was amazing. Yes, it is so important to just show up as the best version of ourselves. I always like to say, you are your brand and you are your image wherever you go. So, whether you're going to the post office, the grocery store, to your kids' schools, it's not only about showing up for business and for work, but for life as well. And we are leaving lasting impressions wherever we go. So it's not only about showing up as the best version of ourselves, but also showing up in a way that we are impacting others and how we react and behave and treat other people. So that it's like a big, huge encompassing a picture, if you will. So first impressions are lasting impressions, right? And they
right.
follow you wherever you go.
That is true. And my third tip is just be real. So I know I'm talking about showing up in best version, but you don't have to be perfect. Okay. And there are a lot of people that are afraid to make a video and share it because they don't think their background is perfect yet, or their lighting isn't perfect, or they're nervous and they're going to stumble over their words. People want to see the real us. they don't expect to see an edited Hollywood version of ourselves. So even though we're talking about be the best version, make an effort, be professional, put some time into it, whatever that means, just smile, just recognize, you trip over your words, laugh at yourself, right? Just be yourself. We
Yes.
all make mistakes all the time. That's why we're human. That's why we're relatable to other people, because we're not Barbie doll perfect. Nobody wants that.
You're absolutely right. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I stumble over my words. I lose my train of thought. I say how many I am certainly not perfect. And even just, creating this program and creating, what I've created here, this online chamber of commerce for women in business, small business owners and entrepreneurs, it was like, just go. A lot of us stop ourselves, right? Because we're afraid, because it's not perfect. And you're absolutely right. We just need to be authentic, be genuine, be ourselves, and
Right.
and get the message out there. The right people are going to hear it. And I truly believe the right people will resonate with you just because you are being genuinely, authentically you, right?
Absolutely.
Well,
I
you are,
mean,
go ahead,
That's
Deborah.
that's who they want to do business with,
Right.
not like the perfect version of myself, the real version of myself. That's what people are attracted to.
Yes, exactly. I think that is a phenomenal message to wrap up our session together. You are amazing, Deborah Fawaz of DDFaces. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us. If there is anyone out there that would like to have a conversation with Deborah, a consultation, a one-to-one strategy, and or book her for a workshop. She facilitates workshops on so many different topics, from color to first impressions to wardrobe and style to networking. You name it. Where's the best place for them to connect with you, Deborah?
I think the easiest way is to go to my website where there's a calendar and you can just schedule a time with me and we can either have a phone conversation or an online conversation. And that is DD by Deborah. It's the long way, DEBORAH. So by Deborah.com. There's a complete listing of all the different services that are offered, as well as the professional speaking topics and all the different workshops, from skincare to wardrobing to makeuping.
I love it. Well, Deborah, thank you so much for sharing your success tips with us here at Beautiful Faces Going Places. I just want to say we love and appreciate you. You are amazing. And I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time.
Well, thank you for having me. And we are all very grateful that you do these interviews and that you, Carol, are always lifting others up. And that is one of the endearing things about you that people like and want to be in your inner circle. So thank you for that.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Mwah. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.